current affairs. The other three would be motivation, entertainment, and spirituality. So, zooming in to the current affairs is exactly what we will do in just a second. A police officer who was traveling in one of the vehicles of Deputy President David Mabuza's motorcade was killed when the tire burst, causing the car to roll over. Police spokesperson Colonel Atlenda Mate said the accident happened in Middelburg, Mpumalanga, at about 10:30 a.m. The deputy president's motorcade was traveling between Mpumalanga and Gauteng when one of the backup vehicle's tire burst, causing the vehicle to roll over. 3 members who were in the vehicle sustained serious injuries. One of the members was declared dead at the scene, while the other 2 were transported to a nearby hospital for urgent medical attention. The deputy president was in another vehicle. He was not injured. She added that the police employee health and wellness unit has been dispatched to notify the families and deceased member and the injured members. The National Commissioner of SAPS, General Fani Masemola, has, on behalf of SAPS, sent his condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of the deceased member, and also wished the injured members a speedy recovery. A case of culpable homicide has been registered at the Middelburg police station. In July, Mabuza's motorcade was involved in an accident on the N1 in Midrand in Johannesburg. 2 officers sustained minor injuries during the accident and were treated and released the same day. Mabuza was not part of the motorcade. The Johannesburg Metro Police Department has defended its unit after distinguishing a difference between a reflective jacket clad by Metro police officers allegedly soliciting a bribe from a taxi driver. A video has been making the rounds on social media of a man wearing a Metro Police reflective jacket having small talk with a taxi driver. However, at a glance, many were convinced that the man shown in the video was a JMPD officer. The officer in a confusing reflective jacket is seen exchanging hands with the taxi driver. Seconds later, he is seen stumbling while he walks away after collecting an item from the operator driving a white old model taxi. However, JMPD commented on the tweet. To put perspective on this matter, the page's admin refuted the allegations by picking out the reflective jacket. JMPD does not issue reflective jackets like this. Check your facts before publication. There are 2 other Metro Police departments in Gauteng. There's Tshwane and Metro Police Kuruleni. It is 24 minutes after 9 a.m. So, in the footage, and let's actually get into this one. It actually took my breath away when I actually found this out. And I was reading about this morning, and I was like, So there's a shocking murder of a Russian deserter killed with a sledgehammer by the Wagner troops. He got hit over the head and lost consciousness and came around in this dungeon. He said to the camera, "They told me I was to be tried." So, in the video, an unidentified Wagner fighter stated that Nuzin went to the front to join Ukraine and its fight against the Russians. The plan of the mercenary claimed was carried out on the 4th of September. The shocking video then shows Nuzin being bludgeoned with a sledgehammer by one of the unidentified Wagner mercenaries. The gruesome execution was labeled Hammer of Vengeance and was likely released as a warning to other Russian Wagner convicts against the surrender in the Ukraine. It is unclear how Nuzin fell into Russian hands, and many pro-Russian online sources are speculating that he was exchanged for an unknown number of Ukrainian soldiers. Nuzin, who's 55 at the time of his death, was a former prisoner of Penal Colony 3 and was recruited by Wagner earlier this year when the mercenary group turned to the Russian prison system to fill the gaps in the ranks. Viral videos have never run dry on the World Wide Web. How amazing is it that there's always something crazy from the internet? From people riding trolleys on the highway to failed challenge compilations, the internet has never left us feeling lonely. While you're here, get your fill of LOL and a few cringeworthy videos on the side. So, on the 20th of November, and this is Ish. So, they actually went in to go it was a shameless robbery at a Johannesburg mosque, where they made everybody lie down and literally picked through their pockets and handbags, taking phones, wallets, cell phones, iPads. It was actually insane. You can check that video, just to give you an idea of how heartless criminal elements have become. The family confirmed that his death in a statement, saying details around his demise could not be released as the investigation is underway. Police are shedding light on the fatal shooting of DJ Somebody. Police Colonel spokesperson Mavela Masondo said police received a complaint about a shooting incident at the corner of Woodmead Drive and Woodland in Sandton. He said Gauteng police were searching for suspects and investigating circumstances that led to the shooting, in which two people, one of them Sefoka, died and another was seriously injured. Gauteng Acting Police Commissioner Major General Tommy Mtombeni has activated maximum resources to trace those responsible for the shooting. Both victims, a driver and a passenger, were certified dead on the scene. It was reported that the third victim, who was driving a BMW X5, was taken to the nearest medical care center after sustaining gunshot wounds. Masondo said the motive for the murder or for the shooting is unknown at this stage. Police appeal to anyone with information that can help the investigation or assist in the apprehension of the suspects to please call Crime Stop numbers on 08600 10 111. Rest in peace, DJ Somebody. Former President Jacob Zuma has called on ANC branches to voice concerns about corruption, including raising questions about the Phala farm saga involving the President Ramaphosa. Zuma, who was speaking at the ANC political education event in Philippine, Cape Town, said the party needed to deal with many issues regarding its leadership. He questioned why one person held 3 senior party positions at a time, referring to the Treasurer General, Paul Mashatile. Mashatile became the acting Secretary General after the death of Jesse Duarte, who held the position of Deputy Secretary General but acted as Secretary General after Ace Magashule's suspension. Why should we have one member of the ANC who holds 3 positions, very critical positions? What are the reasons? I think we need to deal with these matters in order to cleanse the ANC. I think there are matters that we cannot allow to continue. Zuma spent time addressing Ramaphosa's Phala scandal, calling on branches to demand answers. He also claimed that police are afraid of President Ramaphosa. The Springboks claimed a memorable win over Italy on Saturday afternoon, but there was a big talking point before the game even kicked off when an extremely labored performance of Nkosi Sikelel Africa sparked a frenzy of reactions from the crowd. Now, the singer, Nicole Mahuli, managed to eventually get through the anthem, but the pace and rhythm seemed to be desperately off-key as Twitter went into overdrive about how slow the singing was. Many Twitter users even drew comparisons to the famous rendition from Ras Dumisani in the 2013 Test match defeat to France. This is what it sounded like. Yeah, no. This was not the best version of the national anthem by a stretch. So she did manage to finish the national anthem, but by the time she was done, Twitter was already on fire. Just across the border in Harare, Zimbabwe's opposition Citizens Coalition for Change, Nelson Chamisa, has called on Zimbabweans in South Africa and overseas to return home this festive season. Chamisa says citizens must return and register for the next year's watershed election in order to clean the economic mess plaguing the country. He has also called on South Africa and other SADC regions to stop working with President Emmerson Mnangagwa's ZANU-PF government. An investigation by the Department of Employment and Labor has found the majority of employees in the Western Cape are not complying with labor legislation. In a statement on Friday, the department said 55% of employers scrutinized by the department's inspectors in the province during 2021-2022 financial year were non-compliant. Hlanganisa Dalasile said the department's employer audit specialist in the Western Cape said the compliance level dropped to 43.46% in the 2022-2023 financial year. Dalasile described the drop as a worrying trend across all sectors. Dalasile said employers were not registering employees with the Unemployment Insurance Fund when they commenced business. The inspector also found that employers did not declare employees and pay contributions to the UIF by the 7th day of each month as mandated by law. Back in East London, Unombolego Smaile has died. She was the Eastern Cape mother accused of killing her 4 children with a sledgehammer. Her family have confirmed that she passed away on Sunday afternoon. Police say she died after complaining that she was feeling sick and being rushed to hospital. The exact cause of death is still to be determined. The 32-year-old mother had been previously admitted to hospital moments before making her second court appearance. She had allegedly confessed to killing her children between aged 2 and 11. They were laid to rest on Friday. She had to be expected back in court on the 29th of November. So, he was there with me during 9 wasted years, Zuma says of Ramaphosa. He took it very seriously, Zuma said, upon hearing the 9 wasted years statement by President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2018, attributed to his 2 terms in office. He said Ramaphosa was there during those alleged wasted years. It was quite a statement, and much as I did not make much of care what people say about me, they made me look like an animal, feral. I thought it was very serious because he was a man who had been part of government number 2 in the country. Zuma made the remarks at the official launch of Jacob Zuma Speaks. A limited number were released and sold in 2021. On Friday at the conference center in KwaZulu-Natal Sharks Board offices in Mhlanga, where his eponymous foundation has held office space for years. Former President Jacob Zuma took with his book Jacob Zuma Speaks but this was not the only moment to criticize the detractors. It was meant to be a joyous occasion in which Zuma's eternal underdog fighting for his credibility against the state, the ANC, and an ostensibly misinformed public. Finally, and further afield, in this beautiful continent of Africa, hundreds of journalists and political activists demonstrated on Friday, the 18th of November, in Senegal's capital, demanding the release of a Senegalese journalist and government critic detained earlier this month. Journalist union representatives marched along the boulevard near Dakar city center, chanting "Free Pape Ale Niang." Niang, who runs an online news website, Dakar Matin, has been critical of President Macky Sall's government, was arrested on November 6th. He was charged and placed under a detention order on the 9th of November. He's accused of having broadcast confidential messages about security arrangements surrounding the November 3rd interrogation of opposition politician Usame Sonko over the allegations of rape. Authorities also accused Niang of spreading false news. His detention has sparked a wave of criticism from the press and civil society against the Senegalese president. We want this to stop, and we ask the state of Senegal, we ask mainly of our leaders to release all hostages, including Pape Ale Niang, who was detained for press offenses.
This is KNR.